This is a question in GATE 2020 asked for 1 mark. Now question is, which one of the following is used to represent the supporting many to one of weak entity set in a entity relationship diagram? Here a small confusion is added. You may be confusing with, is they asking the symbol of weak entity set or relationship set? But observe the question carefully. The question is given is, which one of the following is used to represent the supporting many to one relationships? Okay, it is asking relationships of weak entity set. Means it is asking the symbol for the relationships of weak entity set. The relationships of weak entity set will become weak relationship. Weak relationship in ER model are represented with double diamond. Okay, it is represented with double diamond symbol. And weak entity sets are represented with double rectangle. Means two rectangles will be used for weak entity set. This is for weak entity set. Now coming to the answer, rectangles are for entity set, not for the relationship set. So that option A is wrong. Ovals we use for attributes. This is also wrong. Ovals that contains underlined identifiers. Actually, the weak entity will have a partial key. The partial key is represented with oval with attribute with dot and underline. Such attribute is called partial key. We call it as partial key. Okay, or also we also called discriminating attribute. We call discriminating attribute. Discriminating attribute or partial key is represented with attribute with dotted underline. So option C is also wrong. Now what is left is option D, that is diamonds with double or bold borders. Okay, this is the representation of weak relationship set. Now the question is, consider relation R that is in 3NF but not in BCNF. So the complete question lies in the statement 3NF but not in BCNF. Now the question is, which one of the following statements is true? First we'll understand what is 3NF, what is BCNF relation. First, BCNF relation. What BCNF requires is, if there is a non-trivial functional dependency of the form x2a holds, it requires x should be super key. Means if every LHS of functional dependency, if it is super key, then such relations are called BCNF relations. Suppose if LHS not super key, means suppose we have x2a is a functional dependency, x is not super key but R is a prime attribute, then we can call relation is not in BCNF but we can call relation is in 3NF. Now coming to the definition of 3NF, if we have a non-trivial functional dependency of the form x2a holds, 3NF requires that either LHS should be super key or RHS is a prime attribute. We have either R condition. Now because either R condition is there, the first condition is LHS is super key. If LHS is super key, it is also satisfying the definition of BCNF, means we can call the relation is in BCNF. If it is in BCNF, we can say every BCNF relation is also satisfying third normal form 3NF, we can say. But if LHS is not super key but RHS is prime attribute, then we can call that relation comes under 3NF relation but not in the BCNF normal form. Okay, keep in mind this point. Accordingly you can check each of the options. Now coming to the first option, R has non-trivial functional dependency x to a where x is not super key. It is clearly mentioned x is not super key. If because x is not super key, definitely I can say it is not BCNF. First thing I can conclude, It is not BCNF. Why? Because BCNF requires left hand side should be super key. Okay, and A is a prime attribute. A is a prime attribute because left hand side not super key but right hand side is a prime attribute. Then we can say the dependency is satisfying third normal form. Now I can say answer for this question is option A, satisfying a non-trivial functional dependency, that is in 3NF but not in BCNF. And we also check for other options, why other options are wrong. Observe, R has non-trivial functional dependency x to A, where x is not super key. Because it is not super key is mentioned, now I can conclude with this option it is not BCNF. Because question is not BCNF but 3NF but not BCNF. So first thing, it is anyhow not BCNF. And A is non-prime attribute. Here it is given A is non-prime attribute. Non-prime attribute is nothing but a non-key. So means here LHS of a dependency is not non-key, sorry, not a super key. We call it is non-key. And RHS is clearly mentioned, it is a non-key. Such non-key relationship, we call it is transitive dependencies. If it is transitive dependency, we can say it is in 2NF but not 3NF. So that clearly option B is not satisfying the 3NF definition. So option B is wrong. Option C, R has non-trivial functional dependency x to A. Here also it is clearly mentioned x is not super key. Because x is not super key, first thing I conclude is it is not BCNF. And second thing, A is non-prime attribute. A is non-prime attribute because right side is non-prime attribute is mentioned. It means that right side is a non-key. And also mentioned X is proper subset of some key. Proper subset of some key we call it is part of some key. It means the dependencies of the form part of key to non-key. That part of key to non-key form we call it is a partial functional dependency. If relation having partial functional dependency, we can see such relations are in 1NF first normal form but not in second normal form. So it is not in 2NF means it definitely not in 3NF. So that option C is also incorrect. Now coming to option D, SL means attribute of a relation, holds a set instead of atomic values. Here for this option it is very clear that attribute is containing set of values but not atomic values. But every relation in the relational model need to contain atomic values. But it is not containing atomic values means it is not belonging to any normal form. We call it is none of the normal form, means not even the first normal form. Even the first normal form requires atomic values. Because even atomic values are also not satisfying, so we can call it is not 1NF. It is simply saying none of the normal form. So it is, if it is not 1NF, definitely it is not 2NF, it is not 2NF, and it is not 3NF. Because the question asked it should be in 3NF but not BCNF, so that option D is also wrong. So only option A is the correct answer. And here observe a question. Consider a relational database containing the following schemas. Here it is given three key schemas: catalog, suppliers, and parts, and a query is given. And here you observe a query. It is one query in the outer side and one query in the inner side. Because one query in the outer and one query in the inner, we call such queries are called nested queries. What is nested query? Nested query is a query within another query. A query within another query is called nested query. We have one query in the outer, one query in the inner. Always it is going to execute the inner query first and it is independent of outer query. After executing the inner query, it is going to give some output. That output will be used by the outer query, and based on the output of inner, outer query is going to execute and gives you the final output. It means nested queries are evaluated from inner to outer, or we also called bottom to top evaluation. Okay, we understood what is nested query. Now coming to the question, because it is nested query, first inner query is going to be executed. Just observe what is given in the inner query. Inner query contains one table, catalog, and from the catalog table it is first selecting those tuples satisfying the condition where p number equal to p4. Here in this table, p number p4 is there for this row and also for this row. For this row, the cost is 200. For this row, the cost is 250. And here, both are for P4 rows only. And in inner query, it is also mentioned a condition called group by P number. Because both are for P number P4, this is forming one group of the two tuples, that is S2 P4, S2 P4 200 in one row and S3 P4 250 one row. These two forming one group, and for this group it is finding the average of cost. Now what the inner query is finding? Inner query is finding average of cost. The average of cost here 200 plus 250 by 2 means it is going to find 225 as the output of inner query. So means inner query is evaluated given the output 225. Now it executes the outer query. In the outer query we have supplier table, catalog table. Because two tables are mentioned in the outer query, first it performs Cartesian product between supplier and catalog. Here when you see the catalog table, we have 9 rows in the catalog and we have 3 rows in the supplier. When you perform the Cartesian product of supplier and catalog, it is going to have 3 into 9 combinations of tuples, which is equals to 27 combinations. In the 27 combinations, it is going to select only those records satisfying the condition s dot number equal to c dot s number. Here s is for supplier, c is for catalog, and also it has one more condition, and cost is greater than the output of the inner query. Here the output of the inner query is 225. So that now the query appearing like this means select s number comma name from supplier comma catalog, where s number equals c s number and cost greater than 25. Means what it is going to find in the final output, s dot s number and s dot name in the final output. Means among the Cartesian product number of tuples, means which is the result of supplier cross product catalog, 27 tuples, it is going to select only those tuples satisfying this condition. Now we'll see what are the tuples that are satisfying this condition, s number equals cs number and cost greater than 225. Now we'll see with respect to these two tables. Here when you see the matching rows of supplier and catalog, these are the rows of supplier S1. Means for supplier S1 we have 3 matching rows, and this is a record of supplier 2. So means supplier 2 is matching with 2 rows, and supplier 3 is matching with 4 rows as a result of join condition, that is a first condition. Here the first condition is s number equal to cs number, means the tuples satisfying this condition are here 9 tuples. Among these 9 tuples, it is going to select only those tuples satisfying the condition cost greater than 225. Now first tuple cost 150 greater than 225 wrong. 50 greater than 225 wrong, 100 greater than 225 wrong, 200 greater than 225 wrong, 250 greater than 225 correct. So means for this combination, it is satisfying the condition SS number and CS number is matching, S2 equal to S2, and also satisfying the condition cost greater than 225. For this matching row, it is going to display SS number and S name in the output. So here SS number is S2 and S name is Balaji Furniture in the output of final query. For that combination, that is SS2 and Balaji Furniture in the output. Now we'll check similarly other matchings. Here cost 250 greater than 225 true for this tuple, this combination, so that for this combination also S3 and premium furniture will be in the final output. Here S3 premium furniture in the output. And next tuple, this is 150 greater than 225 wrong. This is 300 greater than 225 true. Similarly 250 greater than 225 true for these combinations. Again, these two are the combinations for S3 row and premium furniture. For these two tuples, again it is going to display the SS number S3 and premium furniture. SS number is S3 and premium furniture in the output. Okay, so that as a result of this query, it is returning how many rows? 4 rows in the output. So that the answer of this query is option C. The question is, consider a schedule of transactions T1 and T2. One schedule is given. I am calling this schedule is S with some read and write operations and containing two transactions T1 and T. And here RA indicates read A, WB indicates write B. Now the question is, which of the following schedules is conflict equivalent to the above schedule? Two schedules S1 and S2, if you want to say both are conflict equivalent, whatever the conflicts are there in S1, same conflict should be there in S2. It means whatever conflict operations are there in S1, same conflict operation should be there in the S2. First, we'll understand what are the conflict operations. We have three conflict operations: read 1A, write 2A, we call it is read write conflict, and write 1A, read 2A, we call it is write read conflict, and write 1A and write 2A, we call it is write write conflict. Conflict operations are the operations on same data A, but different transaction. It is transaction 1, it is transaction 2, like this. At least one write you can see: read write, write read, write write. These are the three conflict operations. Such conflict operations, whatever is there in S1, same conflicts if there in S2, then we can call S1 and S2 are conflict equivalent schedules. Because the question is about conflict equivalence, first we'll see what are the conflicts in S, means in the given schedule, and check is the same conflicts are there in the options. First we'll check what are the conflicts that are there in given schedule. Here you observe the T1 is having the first operation read A. Read A of T1 is going to conflict with write A of T2. Just check it, there are no write A operations in T2, means the first operation of T1 is not going to conflict with any operations. Now here the second operation, read B of T2, is going to conflict with write B of T1 operations. Here you can see write B. It means there is a first conflict of the given schedule is read 2B is conflict with write 1B. This is a first conflict. And next, this write B is going to conflict with read B or write B of other transactions. Means we have one more conflict. This write B is also going to conflict with this write B. So means we have one more conflict. Write 2B is conflicting with write 1B. Now the third operation, read C is going to conflict with write C. You say what is the third conflict we have? R1C is conflicting with W2C. And we have one more conflict. Read 2D is going to conflict with write 1D. So we have fourth conflict. Read 2D is going to conflict with write 1D. And no more conflicts. Means we have these four conflicts in the given schedule. I am calling conflict 1, conflict 2, conflict 3, conflict 4. These are the four conflicts in the given schedule. If same four conflicts, if they're in any of the options, then that option is called conflict equivalent schedule. Check with option A. Read 2B is going to conflict with write 1B. Read 2B, write 1B. Read 2B, write 1B. This is a conflict 1. So means this option is having the first conflict of the given schedule. Now write 2B is also conflict with write 1B. That is write 2B, write 1B. It is a second conflict is also there. Now read 2D is going to conflict with write 1D. That is a fourth conflict is also there in option A. And you also check read 1C conflict with write 2C. That is the third conflict. That is also there in the option A. Any more conflicts? No more conflicts. Means whatever the conflicts are there, all conflicts are there in the given schedule. So the answer for this question is option A. We also check why option B is wrong, C is wrong, D is wrong. Check for why option B is wrong. In option B, read A do not have any conflict. Read C had a conflict with write C. Means it had a conflict read 1C and write 2C. That is a conflict 3 there in the option B. And we have one more conflict, write 1D conflict with read 2D. But here when you observe what conflict we have in the given schedule, we have read 2D, write 1D. Means it is a conflict from 2 to 1. But here in the option it is conflict from 1 to 2. Means this conflict is not present in the given schedule. Now I can conclude that option B is wrong. Now coming to option C. In option C, also you observe read 1C is conflicting with write 2C. That is a conflict 3 present in the option C. And write 2D is conflict with 1D, conflict with read 2D. Here also write 1D conflict with read 2D. But we have the fourth conflict read 2D, write 1D. But here it is 1 to 2. But in the given schedule it is 2 to 1. This is not present. So that option C is also incorrect. Now coming to option D. The conflict here is read 2B conflict with write 1B. The first conflict is there. And write 2B conflict with write 1B. That is a conflict 2. Second conflict is also present. And read 2D conflict with write 1D. Read 2D, write 1D. That is a fourth conflict. That is also present. Write C had a conflict with read C. That is write 2C. So it is a conflict from 2 to 1. But in the given schedule, the same conflict is there in the order from 1 to 2 because it is read 1C, write 2C. But here it is mentioned write 2C, read 1C. Means this conflict is not satisfied. So answer option D is also incorrect option. So the correct answer for this question will be option A. Here in the question, it is clearly mentioned a database implemented using B+tree data structure, okay, for file indexing and installed on disk drive with block size 4 KB. Here first we collect some data from the question. It is mentioned block size. I am calling B equal to 4 KB. 4 KB is nothing but 4096 bytes it has. And the size of search key is 12 bytes. Here the key size we call 12 bytes. and the size of tree or disk pointer is 8 bytes. So here we call block pointer or record pointer. Block pointer, here block pointer and record pointer both are of size 8 bytes. It is mentioned. Assume that the database has 1 million records, means the number of records are equals to 1 million. 1 million nothing but 10 lakhs records. We have 10 lakhs records in the database. Now, the question is also assume that no node of the B plus tree and no records are present initially in the main memory. Now, the question is consider each record fits in one block. Because each record fit in one block means I can assume that record size is same as block size or less than the block size, but each block contains only one record. Now the question is the minimum number of disk accesses required to retrieve records in the database. Means how many blocks to be accessed. How many blocks to be accessed means how many blocks that need to be transferred from disk to main memory. That is we call block access. Here you should understand what is the meaning of block access. Here this is my disk. My disk consisting of several blocks, block 1, block 2 and so on. This is my block 1, block 2 and so on. And if I need to perform some operation, that block of records need to transfer from disk to memory and perform a search in the block of records. If my record is not found in that block, then what it will do, it will replace that memory content with next block and continue the process until it finds a search or if no record is found. Here you observe transfer of each block of records from disk to main memory is called block access. Now the question is how many minimum number of block accesses are required. And first of all, it is constructing a B plus tree. It is a tree data structure because constructing B plus tree to find how many levels are there in the database, it requires to find what is the order of internal node and leaf node. In B plus tree, order of internal node, which is equals to n pointers and n minus 1 keys, the total size should be less than or equal to block size. This formula will be used to find the order of internal node. Say n is the order and the size of tree pointer, that is a block pointer, given is 8, means n into 8 plus n minus 1 into size of key size is 12 bytes, which is less than or equal to block size. The block size is 4096. When you solve this equation, what will you get? 8n plus 12n minus 12 less than or equal to 4096. That is 20n. If this minus 12 goes to the other side, it becomes 4108, right? So that n is going to be less than or equal to 4108 by 20. Because it is less than or equal to, we have to take lower bound, which is equals to 205 point something. Because we have to take less than or equal, we should take 205 as the order of internal node. And it also requires to find order of leaf node. A B plus tree leaf node contains n index records. Each index record contains key and record pointer pairs, and it also contains one block pointer. We call it is p next, which should be less than or equal to block size. Now if n index records are there, each key is of 12 bytes and record pointer is of 8 bytes plus block pointer, again it is 8 bytes, less than or equal to block size 4096. Now when you solve this equation, 20n less than or equal, if this 8 goes to other side, it is going to become 4088. Now here n less than or equal to 4088 divided by 20. Because less than or equal to, we have to take lower bound. When you find 4088 by 20, you will get 204 point something. Because 204 point something, we have to take 204 as the order of leaf node. And here order of internal node is number of pointers. Here order of internal node is number of records. We call index records, number of index records. Now the question is, how many minimum number of blocks to access a record? That means how many minimum block access are required. Because data records are mentioned, because 10 lakhs records are given. Now I'm calling, this is my data block. This is my data block. My data block contains how many index records? 10 lakhs of index records. Here 10 lakhs records means 10 to the power of 6. Because each record stored in one disk block, by default there are 10 to the power of 6 disk blocks in the data file. Over this, if I am creating an index, because we have 10 to the power of 6 disk blocks, we have to create a dense index. We have to create a dense index over the database. Now what is a dense index? Now dense index contains an index record for each key value. So because we have 10 to the power of 6 data blocks, so that we have to create 10 to the power of 6 index records. But 10 to the power of 6 index records to be stored in each data block with 204 index records in a data block. It means in each block we have to store 204 records. Totally we have 10 to the power of 6 records. For storing 10 to the power of 6 records with order of leaf node is 204, it requires to have 10 to the power of 6 divided by 204 blocks. It means in the first level, means when I'm talking about leaf level, in the leaf level it requires to have how many blocks? 4902 blocks. Because it is 4901.96, because 0.96 it is going to occupy the next block. Now over this, next have to create one more level of index, because B plus tree is a multi-level index. It requires to create index over the index until it reaches to the one block in the top level. And I can call this is a first level index. We call it is second level index. Second level index is going to use the sparse index, means it requires to create index record only for some key values. In sparse index, the number of index records are equals to number of blocks. In the first level, we do have 4902 blocks. It means in the second level, you have to create 4902 records. For storing 4902 records, in each block, it is possible to store 205 records. Because this is a leaf level, this is called internal nodes. In the internal node, what is the order of internal node? 205. It means each block is able to store 205 records. So that 4902 divided by 205 will gives you 23.91 blocks. So that we can take 24 blocks. We have to take upper bound only when it comes to the blocks, because 23.9 means where do you store that 0.9? We have to go for the next block, because 24 blocks, so that we have to create one more level of index, because B plus tree is multi-level index. It is to create index over the index until it reaches to one block. So means again we are going to create a third level of index. Again over second level I am creating third level. Again third level it uses a sparse index. In the sparse index, the number of index records are equals to number of blocks in the previous level. In the previous level, you do have 24 blocks. So that in third level, we have to create 24 records. For storing 24 records, order of internal node is 205. Means one block is able to store 205 records. But in third level, we have only 24 records. For storing 24 records, it is required to have how many blocks? Only one block. It means we have reached to the top level. In B plus tree, we call it is a root node. So we call root contains one block. The second level contains 24 blocks. First level contains 4902 blocks. In multi-level index, we have to start searching from the root, which will guide you which block in the next level is to be accessed. Means in the next level we have to access one block, its next level we have to access one more block, and finally we have to access one block from the data file. Okay, finally we have to access one block from the data file. So because here this B plus tree index is having 3 levels and one in the data file, at each level it requires to access one block and finally one block in the data file. It means the minimum number of blocks to access will be equals to 4. Means 4 blocks to access as a minimum. Okay, so answer for this question will be 4.